It says it's live.
Does it say it's live? Okay, I don't know when it started being live, but
Yeah, it says it is.
got us already. Okay, so I think we are officially live. I'll have to find it, but on Facebook Live, there we are. So welcome everybody to today's Beyond the Cloud, and hashtag freestyle fun, hashtag or freestyle Friday, hashtag unscripted fun, hashtag thank God it's Friday. So we have with us today live, and I put the link in there. Anybody wants to join live, please do. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of Deb and I chatting to ourselves, and I don't know how exciting that we're going to be able to be.
It's not going to be. It'll be boring.
We both don't have first careers or day jobs as comedians for a reason. So, feel free to come in and join us. We've got Jessica, who is joining us, feeling under the weather today, but she's still been able to join us. Oh, good. We've got Diane and Suzanne. Let me bring them in. Good. We've got more people. Awesome.
Okay. I was trying to think of some jokes. It's like, boy, this is going to be a long hour if it's just me.
I know, right? Right. By the way, did you know that you were going to be the
one and only?
Exactly.
Well, Jessica's here in spirit. I can see her. I can't see her
guys.
sitting.
Exactly. There's Diane and Suzanne. Hello, hello. How is everybody today?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, it's really good. It is so sunny out right now, but we're getting a storm apparently, a really big windstorm. So everybody's like watching outside going, but it's gorgeous. How come the weatherman's saying we're getting a storm? But apparently 90 kilometer an hour winds later today.
Yeah.
So
it already started.
Wow.
It already started here, Diane.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. It's already started blowing. So.
Wow. So it's obviously coming our way. And I have this huge tree right beside my house that's dying.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's got dead branches on it. And I keep calling the city and saying, somebody do something about this tree because I don't want it to fall on my house on the next windstorm.
And the windstorm's here. So
the windstorm's here.
Jeepers.
Eek. Not good.
Yeah. Anyways. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, all the positive thoughts sending your way. All right. So you know what? And I didn't come prepared with a question today. So I don't know. Sandra, pick a question. I put her on the spot. She's already telling me she's a raise because she's our official spider killer. She's the muscle.
I needed it today. I had a big one I was fighting in the window earlier.
Oh, and I bet you've got all kinds of big stuff out there. My spiders probably look like, I don't know, like microscopic compared to yours. Oh my God.
Yeah, we have those black jumping things. And this guy, he was quarter size. And I had him in the window and he'd been stuck in the screen and he got a moth. And so I thought, oh, okay, he'll be good for a while. And then I figured he was gone. And then I opened up the window and there he was, coming out here to get me. And I had to get out a stick and battle him, open the screen and get him flipped out the screen. So depending on which spider it is, I don't kill them.
Right.
They're good for all the other bugs I've got out here. So
right.
But if I find them in my bed, all gloves are off.
I bet. I bet. Oh man.
Find a spider in the bed, that's it. And there is no sleeping in it. I have to go find the couch.
Oh my goodness.
Something else. Yeah. I don't mind spiders, but boy, I don't want them on me and I don't want them in my bed.
Wow. No, I don't blame you. Not at all. Well, just Lisa Mueller, she's in Alberta. She's Red Deer, and she says that there's shingles blowing off like crazy. That's Alberta. So I don't know if it's coming east or west, or maybe it sounds like it's going west. It started, I don't know. So I don't know if you guys got any of that, Deb, there within the last day or so.
I think about a day ago or 2 days ago, we had 35, 40 mile an hour winds. But I normally get that. So it's not like a new thing. When the cyclone bomb, last March hit, that was big. That one, we had 80 mile an hour winds. And
I'm just trying to think of is it the same system potentially? Because Alberta, that's really only a couple hours up from Montana, right? So still kind of, so yes, it's still further north, but probably not too far off from where you guys would be.
Yeah,
Really.
'cause I still got about 3 states between me and there. So
Still there? Okay.
yeah. And I know the climate, they're saying the climate growing seasons have all changed now. So when I used to be in the 5 season, now I've switched to the 6. And it's like, I don't see how that's happening. But
Wow.
I saw that and it was like, this is a little strange. I'm gonna have to investigate that a little bit more.
Let's see.
Before I go trying to grow things thinking I'm now a 6 when I was a 5
Yeah.
before. Can't have that.
Well, I'm talking, about seasons. I know Ontario is very well known for our 4 seasons. We've got, was it winter, spring, fall, and construction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we've only got 2. It's winter or it's summer. And you're either freezing to death or cooking to death. There is
Oh my
nothing in
gosh.
between.
And we only have two too. Sunshine or rain.
Yeah.
That's it.
We got
Yeah.
wind now, and then I actually did get some snow, but we get rain first, and then it freezes,
Oh.
and then we get an inch. I had an inch of snow, and like I said, some people got up to 14 inches. So
Wow.
I wouldn't. Yeah, trying to drive in that or go out in that is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so yeah, Sandra, it looks like she had a question, and then we got talking about weather, and so Jen will go away. It's the question of the day.
Who's got all their HST files?
Oh, well, here's a good one. Well, okay, so it would only be for the Canadians, but who's got all their HST filed this month? That's what
I
Sandra
do.
Not us yet.
Uh-oh.
Sandra says she's jealous.
It'll be done today.
You know what? That's a little bit unfair. I have a whole lot less clients than you do. So, but yeah, all of my HST is filed for this quarter. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we usually have most of it by the 15th, but we're re-onboarding some clients. We're moving some clients around for the software. We're training new people. We lost one person, training new. So right now, everything's kind of just a real big shit show. So part of what Sandra's doing is making sure that everybody is all caught up before she runs her HST. So that's why it's not really a normal situation for us, but
So
yeah. How are you doing?
Talking about onboarding, re-onboarding, I mean, that's something that I'd like to do.
Right.
And so could we chat about that a bit?
Of course we can. Of course we can. This is, I'm freestyle on Friday. So absolutely. So when we onboard, and then I'd love to hear everybody else re-onboard. So we'll get everybody else afterwards. So what we're starting to do is we're basically taking these clients that, we're changing some processes and we have let them slide on their part of it. So what we are going to start doing is we are going to re-onboard them. So when we do their renewals, so we're kind of doing them one at a time. So here's the renewal price. We're going to give them out when it's all done. And yes, it's going to happen soon for boot campers, is our client handbook. So we're going to give them that. We're going to reiterate, here's the expectations, because again, it's our fault. We've let them get away with things and we have changed their expectations by calling everybody back always on the same day. So now if we're not calling them back within an hour, they're calling back. It's like, hang on, your contract says 48 hours. We will try for same day. So we've got to reset their expectations, get them into the proper habits, re-explain why, and then let them know that this is a process of, we still believe in them. We still believe we're a good fit, but we need to make this work. Otherwise, the next stage is going to be to offload them. And so some of them, we've let some of them just never really got into good habits and we didn't get a chance to do that. We've changed our onboarding process. And so we're going to follow the same re-onboarding process that we are going to meet with clients once a week for their first month. And just to make sure, here's what you're doing. Great. Keep this up, tweak this, whatever. So again, we can get them into the right habits and set both of us up for success. So that's going to be part of our re-onboarding. That's how we're going to handle it.
So have you set a goal when you're going to do it, or you've already started, or?
We've already soft started. So we're getting rid of one client now who is, everything's got to be to us by end of day Monday. Otherwise, we're not processing it and we're going to finish up their off by the end of the month. So we started with them, but their price needed to go to over double. So they chose to not, and that's no problem because we were expecting to, there was a PETA fee. They had subcontractors and somehow snuck in. Now they've got like 12 employees and they've added payroll on, and we're paying for all of this stuff. And it was never properly reflected because it came at a time where things were really crazy and it slipped under unnoticed, which can happen, right? So, so we've kind of already started with some. We're moving some of them over, like payroll, over to Net from Payment Evolution because Net's got a really good deal for existing clients as long as they're on by the end of the year. And we put them on the free version, which is essentially less than 10 employees. We get it for $20 flat and no per employee cost. So that's a really good deal. So we're doing some of that. We're moving some from HubDoc over to Auto Entry that are just doing the fetching. So we're moving some software around at the same time. So we're trying to make ourselves more profitable with the software. We're using Business Importer. So we're instituting, again, a few other things, changing some flows, changing that. So we're kind of working a client or two at a time. So this is going to be a several month project.
So tell me more about changing Auto Entry from Receipt Bank.
So not from Receipt Bank, from HubDoc.
HubDoc, okay.
Yeah, so HubDoc, all we use HubDoc right now is for the fetching.
Right.
We have one client that we were fetching everything, but then we found that it got confusing because the client assumed we just got all their bills. We didn't get all their bills. So we decided that we only tried it with the one, so we decided we're not going to do it anymore, that we fetch their bank statements only, and they are responsible for forwarding their bills either by snapping a picture or by email. Because in that way, there's no confusion. They just know that they have to send everything to us. If they don't send it to us, we don't get it.
Right.
So if we're using HubDoc for that, HubDoc is $25. Yes, I'm paying 20 on some of them. Some of them I still have at a discounted rate of $12.50 that was given to me for 6 months or whatever. But essentially, when that's gone, it's going to be $20 per file just to fetch bank statements.
Yeah.
Auto Entry, I've been looking at them for a couple of years. The credit system really confused me. So I spoke to Sherry Lee Mathers, she really showed me how they can work with certain things to do the income and how they can, she doesn't use them solely, but she uses them for certain clients in certain instances because they solve a pain point. So I said, okay, fine, this is worth it. They've been around a while. They're not going anywhere. This is before Sage bought them out, before the announcement. So we met with Tom shortly after scaling New Heights and did a really deep dive on that and said, okay, how can we do this? So we see a few things that they can help with, but initially they're bank fetches. So what they do, so I'm with Scotiabank. I have my savings, my checking, and my Visa, all my business, all with Scotiabank, and I have a MasterCard with MBNA. So one bank connection is equivalent to, I sat down with Tom and I broke it down. I said, Tom, I don't want to hear credits. I need to hear money. So I broke it down. So one bank connection is $4.30. Because I have 3 with Scotiabank, that is one bank connection, not per account, one bank connection. So for me, that would cost $8.60. And my clients are an average of only 2 bank connections per client.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm paying $20 versus $8.30. So that's going to allow me to, switch it up, be more profitable, because some of these clients I was using HubDoc with, when we brought Receipt Bank in, I didn't charge them extra for Receipt Bank because I felt I was forcing them to use it because it benefited us. So new clients, I started throwing in a $15 charge, but existing, I took it as an operating expense. So this is going to help, balance all of that off to help remain more profitable on them. So, and then we're going to be getting into, it does apparently like foreign income really, really well. It does amazing by line. So if you want a sales receipt or an invoice to go in line by line and have the memorization, it goes in a lot easier, than it would for Receipt Bank. So again, I think they're really targeted. I haven't gotten into that end of it. We're just going to deal with one thing at a time. Get the bank fetching going on people, and then start to, okay, who can we really use this, and then pick a client and test it out for.
Right. So if I understand it correctly, it still has the ability, like a client can still have it on their phone, right?
Yes.
And they can still take the picture just like Receipt Bank and HubDoc, and then it goes up.
Yes.
So are we paying for every document that the client puts up there?
Yes.
with the credit.
Yes.
So I have a client right now that I was thinking about. It might be a good fit for for auto entry, but he throws everything up there. If he pays a bill, the receipt goes there. His banks, he's putting his bank statements there, which is great, but I could have it fetched, right? But he puts everything, like he uses it like a cloud storage for his documents. And that's what I got afraid of. I thought, if you don't put a restriction on what they can put up there, which if you do put a restriction, it almost defeats the selling point of them having their receipts in the cloud for his documents. And I got afraid of. I thought, if you don't, somebody's got their Facebook
Sorry.
up there.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this. Where's my? There we go. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Oh my gosh, I was just trying to respond to somebody typing in, and I'm like, Bianca, actually, she commented Monday's her last GST clients. I was trying to comment back, and yeah. So anyway, sorry, it's fixed. Facebook's muted.
So that was my issue. I just thought, I don't want to restrict them putting things up that I normally don't even, I just look at it and, okay, well, that's just a thing from his bank saying he went online and paid something. Right. I just archive it, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt it for him to have all his records there, but it's going to cost me with auto entry to let him continue to do that.
It would. So first off, Jessica's got a comment here. She's with us just in chat. She's feeling under the weather today, so she's just joining us by chat. So she said she loves auto entry, and she's also struggled with the credit-based pricing, but it's been a better price for most of her clients. So I guess you could look at it one of two ways. If you did that, you could look at it that maybe it'll balance out, or, and I don't know if Tom would give me heck for saying this or not, but I do know he did tell me that he was open to looking at a flat fee price at, on a case-by-case scenario. Right. So again, where is that going to sit? Is it going to sit around the same cost as Receipt Bank? Like, I don't know, but so that's something that he did say he was open to. So again, I don't know where that stands, but I think that's probably worth a conversation with Tom if you want to look at that. But again, if you're looking at a flat fee, that's kind of all of your clients you would have to get on there. So that is something that I did want to talk to him about once we really got in there and started utilizing it. But because we're doing so many changes, we can't do all of it at once. So right now we're just prioritizing. Right. So just strictly for fetch right now. And
so then my other thing is, so then at the end of the month, are you actually charging the clients by the credits that they've used?
No.
Good, because I would just think that would be just way too much work to work out at the end of the month, right?
Well, it would be. And this is why I'm just looking that I had, $20 a client budgeted with HubDoc. The average is three fetching. Or sorry, 2 fetching. So if I've got somebody that's got 3 fetching, so that's going to end up being like $13. I'm paying $8 for some. I'm still going to be under unless somebody's got us fetching 5 or more. So up to 4 banks, I'm still better, which is helping me balance out to the Receipt Bank.
Yeah, but what about all the credits for the receipts they upload?
Oh, we're not using it for the receipt. So we're only using it for the bank statement right now.
I see. Okay.
We're just, that's right now. We're just doing kind of one step at a time. Then we're going to take a look. We do have a client who has, they do have their POS syncs with QBO, but for some reason there's the odd one. There's about 6 or 7 a month that glitch out that she emails us and we manually enter for her right now. So we're going to get her to upload only those ones because again, we're only talking, like 1 credit or something per. So we're going to start to use it like that. And again, so it's going to be very specifically targeted at first. And then, but if we do start using it for all of them, or for just, this is your main thing to send to, then no, that's probably very likely going to be a conversation with Tom to see what they can do about a flat fee. I'd rather pay a flat fee.
Yeah, because that was the other thing I thought about. I thought, oh, that would be a real pain at the end of the month to try and work out how many credits each client used.
Well, and that's exactly it. I mean, with Receipt Bank, that's why I left Receipt Bank the first time was because they didn't have flat fee. Then when they did, I went back and I'm grandfathered in, but I pay $500 or $450 a month. But you know what? I know exactly what my cost is going to be.
Yeah. You
And
know,
so
like that.
yes, it's a lot, but again, I know exactly what it's going to be. So that to me was really important. And that's kind of, I thought, well, I'm going to balance out, with some clients, and the rest I'm just writing it off as operational expenses.
But even if you have the policy of, having your price on the invoice for the service, like a lot of people are moving to now, and then charging for the technology. So you could at least, with a flat fee, say, okay, well, I have to pay $450. So I'm going to charge, my 10 clients that are on it $40, and I'm going to come out to the good, right?
Right.
And not have to do the work of figuring it out in any way.
Exactly. And what I do is I show on there. So I don't show the price I charge the clients. I show their value. So
Right.
I'll put on QBO. Actually, well, QBO I think is one of the only ones I put on. Oh, I put in the value. QBO Essentials value $35. So, and if they ask me, I say, well, that's not necessarily what I charge. Some of these, I don't tell them which ones. I say some of these I can get a wholesale discount on. So that's worked in there. But I want you to see what it would be if you went out. So Receipt Bank, I went to their website. Receipt Bank is $29.99 is what it would be an average business with whatever number of receipts. So I put on, yes, you're using Receipt Bank, $29.99 value, HubDoc 25, and I put like a little dashes to what it's used for. And then when they ask, because some of them are like, oh, this is a lot, let's cut some of them back to cut the price back. I said, that's not what you're That's not what you're being charged. I just want you to see the value.
Right.
That's a good idea. Because it's out of sight, out of mind, and unless you actually show them, like, year-end review value this amount, charging zero. You know what I mean? That they need to see that there is work behind the scenes that they have no idea what you're.
Yeah, so far I don't do that with the year-end reviews. I only do that with the software. But I mean, when I list out, when I send them, it covers your year-end review, liaison with accountants, all of that stuff. So I think I didn't want to get into breaking everything out, because then they're going to start to actually pick apart my price structure. So that's why I've chosen to only put out just the values of the software on there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You already started with NETS, right? The payroll?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. And I know that you did get a special price, but that was just for you, like, because every time I go on to look at it, then I see the other pricing.
I got an email because we did start with them a while ago. So right. I believe that was to all existing clients that they were grandfathering them in. That, but there is still a special accountant's pricing that is not shown on their website.
Oh, I see. Okay. So we should phone. Yeah.
I would phone. Absolutely. I would give them a call. It used to show on the website, and then they took it off. A few bookkeepers and accountants said, what, I'm really not comfortable with you listing the price on there that you give me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Yeah, so they changed that. So I'd reach out and give them a call. Where we're using them, we're still using QBO payroll, but basically our two choices now are QBO and QBO and NET, because NET it does the ROEs, which was really, really nice. It's got the auto, the CRA, and so now it's going to save us time. So again, if clients are fine having their CRA remittance deducted every pay and sent in, we're sending it to there, and the employees do their own onboarding, which is beautiful too. So yeah, NET's come a long way in the last few years. When we started with them, we kept running across issues, and every time we turned around, the answer was, that's not our ideal client. That's not our ideal client. So we finally, after about 6 months, said, fine, then none of our ideal clients are your ideal clients. So that's when we went to PE, but we found there's a lot of improvement in the last 2 years, and unfortunately the way that, PE's cost now, it's just not working as well. So yeah, it was several months of looking into it and really debating, because I don't like to change payroll systems, because then clients are questioning, why are you changing? Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that? There was nothing wrong with it. So so it was and then to determine to do it before T4 time, because now we have to add in their year to date. We now have to issue T4s for change of pay or ROEs for change of payroll provider. So there was a lot of extra work. So we had to weigh all of that out. Was it worth it? And on some clients, yes, it is. So, and that's how we're helping keep their costs down on some of them, because some of them needed to have a really big increase this year. So by moving, them over to knit, and by moving auto entry, from HubDoc to auto entry, and a few little things like that, I'm able to actually save up, $25 a month, which to a client that's, who's got a $300 a month bill, $25 a month is, on top of a normal increase just for the software, on top of the QBO increase, is huge.
Yeah.
So we can do a little bit of offsetting this way, and then we're letting them know that, no, this is going to work for them. We've been looking into it. This is how we're offsetting, and they're fine with that. Yeah. So I would like to know, anybody else here then with any re-onboarding, how is it that you guys would handle that?
All silent.
Diane, she's like, I don't do it. I just tell them to get out of here, right?
I didn't want to sound too arrogant, but
Here's the door. Bye-bye.
I'll tell you a story of a recent, kind of thing that happened like that. I have this one client that he tries, but he's not a very experienced business owner. And he just does not get the fact that there's certain things that you have to pay attention to. So he, would not charge properly on his invoices, GST or PST. And he was doing all kinds of stuff. And I, kind of guided him through all of that. And then he just didn't pay a lot of attention to it. Oh, so what if I don't charge them PST, was his kind of attitude about things. Wow. And then, that kind of reflects back on me, kind of thing. And he had an accountant that really didn't even check him on any of these things also, which I thought was crazy, because I thought I'd be able to enlist the accountant in trying to get him to toe the line with a lot of things, but they didn't. Anyways,
right.
So I just said to him, I said, you know what, we have to part company because of this, and this. And he was really upset and said, I don't want to part company. Just tell me what I have to do. And I said to him, I said, but I've been telling you, I had to threaten this for you to pay attention. Like, yeah. I don't understand how my threats makes you pay attention, but the government's doesn't. Right? Like, they can take your house, bud, right?
Oh, that's funny.
It was a really weird thing. So anyways, I said to him, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to give you another 3 months, but it's going to be at double the price.
Right.
Because I don't necessarily, and I was really honest, I don't necessarily trust that you really do get it because of the past, right? I've told you all of these things and you didn't bother to pay attention. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to prove in the next 3 months that you will correct all of these things that I have to make sure are correct in your books, and I'm not in control of. I don't do your invoicing, and there was a few other things too.
Yeah.
And providing receipts and that kind of stuff. And he said to me, he said, at the end of 3 months, if I do really, really good, are you going to drop the price back to what it was before? And I thought, oh, well, that's a legitimate question, right?
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, yes and no. I said, we'll meet right in between the two.
Right. Because
but you're going to have, yeah, but not only that, you're going to have to pay for some of this heartache for the last year in this. So I'm not willing to go back to that price. I mean, that's not a really good example of onboarding, but it's just a funny story that I thought everybody would, kind of get a kick out of.
Well, that's the thing. If you're wasting time with this party, you can't focus on finding a better client.
That's right.
You've got a slot filled, and until that's
right. So, but what I got to tell you is I now get an email from him and says, I've gone through my Visa statement and checked, and every receipt is in Receipt Bank. Is that okay? Okay.
Oh.
And is there anything else you need to do? And he's constantly writing me little notes and things, whereas before I was pulling all the time to get any kind of communication from him.
Right.
So
Well,
So he is
sometimes-
trainable.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to do that. I did that on a client like earlier in the week, kind of similar, but I was planning on dumping him and saying bye-bye.
Yeah.
But I think you need to do that. They just
Yeah.
don't get it.
Yeah. So out of the whole practice, I ended up getting a much more engaged client,
Good.
Hmm.
and I was able to get 50% more on my monthly fee out of it too. Not that I'm saying that that's what anybody should do, because again,
Well-
I want to sound that's a bit arrogant, but
Well, you know what? But I bet he won't go back to those old habits because he knows he mean business, right? So
yeah, because
Well,
you know what, I now have full not permission, but it's like we've gone through this way before. You go back to your old way and 50% more goes on the bill because
That's right.
that's what we've agreed. So
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah, exactly. Well, and you know what? And that's a great way of doing it. With ours, it just seemed to happen last fall. So first off, we've come up with a whole bunch of new tighter processes in the last several months. Haven't really got a chance to really explain it to the clients. We're just like emailing, like whatever. And then last fall, we probably took on 7 or 8 brand new clients all at once and trying to catch all of them up. And we don't all work on one client
yeah.
only. We each do different parts of different things. So it's really hard to see the full picture on something
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
until all of a sudden it's like, wow. So now we've got fail safes in place to make sure that doesn't creep up on us again.
Yeah.
So, but we've learned from it. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how can we fix this? Well, we're not going to really, the people aren't necessarily bad clients. It's part our fault. So we're going to sit them back down and say, listen, we let this slide. We need to get back on this. This is why.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
But maybe what you have to put in there is, we're going to take responsibility for this. We've let this slide, but it's not acceptable. So this is how we're going to get back on board. But if this continues this way, now that you've been kind of reminded of the way it's going to work, then you will see an increase of so much on your following bill.
Increase or even just gone.
Yeah.
One way or the other. But yeah, we need to work with part of our ideal client is somebody who wants to do better. So we take on a lot of messes, but we will only take them on if they want to do better. If they will let us improve their processes. Like we've got one guy right now. I was waiting for this call. We brought him on about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, maybe not even that. And CRA is now doing a payroll review. Well, as we dig in deeper, so he only paid us to go back to like 8 months. And then he's like, oh, no, there's a big mess. I need you to go back even further. So we're like, okay, here's a new engagement for that. Then we dig in and start to find out that he hasn't paid payroll remittances.
Yeah.
So he's on it now. It's taken care of now. He hasn't even filed his T4s because he was trying to do it himself, got overwhelmed. I get it. So it's like, okay, let's focus. So now he's being charged. I just sent him an invoice for $4,100, a contract for $4,100 for 2 years of T4s and a payroll review while we're going through it. I'm glad I did it at $750 each year because now he's going through a payroll audit. So, that's just going to prove the value. So we're going to do through the payroll review, file his T4s, and then $2,600 for another 7 months of cleanup. And yeah, so $4,100, but he wants to do better. So we'll work with him. So when CRA called us today, we said, no, he wants to do better. We're going to work with him. We've already got this in the works. Send the stuff and we'll have everything done for you because he'll have that, done. And he's got the money in the bank to pay it, which is the crazy thing.
Yeah,
he can pay his payroll deductions.
Yeah.
He just, again, he runs a restaurant. That's what he knows how to do. So,
yeah.
So another question is, so re-onboarding, it's all in an email, or does anyone have a verbal conversation, or does it just depend on the client?
So with us, we do not do it by email. It's definitely a verbal. Or you try to do an in-face or a Zoom. We don't call it re-onboarding to them. That's our internal word, but we would dumb it down for them and just say, listen, we need to tighten our processes. We're going to basically kind of go back to scratch and meet with you once a week for the first month. make sure there's this, make sure that we've got everybody in good habits. And then we are actually going to have them sign the client handbook. So there is going to be an email follow-up. There's going to be a few formal things along with it, but it's just to start with, it's just a verbal. So once the handbook is done, they'll be doing that, but I'm still working on that. Leanna looks like she's got something to say.
Well, I just 4 hours in a meeting today, going over a 4-year cleanup.
Oh.
This was the $16,000 cleanup, and
Right?
this is 2 companies in one person. Back to 2016, and an accountant filed his GST incorrectly, or put it in incorrectly. So he basically owes 108K on a house. And so we had a little chat today about how he brings me his documents and how he gets it. Like he puts all of his stuff in Receipt Bank for me, and why my bill was so high, and or 2 bills because it's 2 separate accounts and stuff like that. And I said, and he's like, well, why is your bill so high this year? And so we talked about that, and I said, well, he's like, well, I do value you, and I was going to help you out. And I said, well, it would have costed you a hell of a lot more if you were to put it in, because I would have had to go back and fix all your mistakes. And so we did talk about that, and I said that about his GST being entered incorrectly, and how his accountant, I met with him last week, and his accountant is going to fire him, and that his accountant should have told him that there was $108,000 still owing, and that he didn't put it in correctly and stuff like that. So it's a 4-hour meeting today.
Wow.
We went through how, because there's actually 5 companies involved, not just 2. So there was a lot to go over.
Yes.
And I talked to him about how we need to be on a monthly or even a quarterly, or less, getting his stuff to me. And now I have to go back to June of 2019 and file all of his GST and stuff like that. And he signed the engagement on a $660 a month now, and instead of a $16,000 bill for each company.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he prefers that rate instead.
So you did a great job with showing your value and what you're
Yeah.
bringing, because now he's not going to be, look at what he's going to save in CRA penalties alone, right?
Yeah.
So good, because I know you were stressed about that one.
I'm still stressed.
Yeah, we had lots of conversations over that one, and so good. I'm glad it went good.
Yeah, and he understood that, because I also included, and I also said, like, all of those years, I also included QuickBooks Online, I included Receipt Bank, but going forward, I have to charge you for the Receipt Bank moving forward, because you were uploading 300 documents every single month for each period. And it was bills, not only bills that I was entering, but also the checks that you were handwriting. And we need to get you on a plan of Veeam. And I showed him the Veeam, and I showed him how he needs to not use handwriting checks, because some of them I can't even make out. And it's just awkward, and it takes me more time. And if you want to pay me my time, it's going to be on, instead of hour, and like, I don't charge by the hour. So if you want me to be charging on an hour, then you can continue writing checks, because my rate will be $300 an hour instead of $660 a month.
Right. Good.
So
And what did he say to that, Leanne?
his response was, I'd rather pay a fixed rate.
Of course.
Oh.
Of course. And you know, you showed you're trying to help him. You're in his corner. You're trying to help him, but you know, yeah, there's a lot of crap that you had to wade through.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And I did say, you know, like the 16,000 should have been 30,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut that down quite a bit when we were going through that. Yeah.
I did, yeah.
You were still well paid for your time, but yeah, he should have been. And that's exactly like, yeah, if you wait like that, again, there's a lot more for you to have to go through, wade through, sort through.
And I did say I had to like do it in the evenings. You wanted another mortgage for your next house that, you know, you've got 4 mortgages going on. You want me to put my other clients aside, and you wanted, you know, it done in a reasonable amount of time. You know, you only gave me less than a month to do 2 years of an accounting for one company and another year for another company. What do you want me to do? You know, evenings, weekends, put my other clients aside just for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that worked out good, because I was keep wondering about that, but then every time we talk, everything else keep forgetting to ask about it. So good, I'm glad.
Leanne, he actually got a really good deal.
Yes.
You just spent 4 hours with him.
Well, exactly, and that's going on in his next bill too.
Yeah, good.
Well, because that's extra. That's extra, right?
Well, not to mention his accountant as well as getting a bill for the time I spent with him last week when I met with him, because he's going to fire him. I know he will. And once he gets his financials and his mistakes that he made, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So Leanne, do you know that they were mistakes that the accountant not made on purpose, but it wasn't a thing where he didn't have the right information from your client or anything?
No, he basically put the sales of the houses in wrong journal entries.
Yeah.
And I showed my client the journal entries, and they were totally wrong accounts.
Right. Okay.
So he was probably just trying to just go through half-assed, basically.
Really and truly, the accountant really shouldn't have even touched the books.
Yeah. Well, again, but that showed your value, that you were able to find these mistakes to fix them, because it's your client that's going to end up in trouble with CRA, right?
Yeah, and we've already talked to CRA about it, and they're understanding.
Good.
I mean, if they haven't any audit, I mean, you covered it. That's huge.
Yep.
Well, the other thing is that the accountant wanted all of the both of the companies under one book too, and I said no, and I have to take out all of the entries that as well now for the JV. It's a joint venture account, and take out all the entries now as well that the accountant made.
I don't even understand why they would even do that, because like that's 101, you know, separate companies, separate books, like
Is this a CPA?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
that
it- I know.
just makes you, you know, when you hear that.
Wow.
You know what? Unfortunately, though, it's funny. People used to call me all the time and over their taxes, and they used to sit there and they used to say, well, the accountant does this and the accountant does that. Excuse me, the accountant will do it. And I've said, you know what? The accountant doesn't have any more ethics just because they're an accountant. That's the ethics of a person. They either will or they won't. And I have constantly used this one guy. His name was Paul, and I can't remember his last name, but I used to do a lot of the Toronto police. I lost several of them, probably about 30 of them, just for their personal taxes to this guy downtown Toronto, because I wouldn't put through a bunch of their, their travel to and from the courthouse and their meals and all of that stuff. I said, no, I need, your statement of conditions of employment. I will not put it through without that, because I know that you guys aren't allowed to claim that. So they all went to this accountant who would put it through. Well, this accountant, he might be out by now, but he ended up doing jail time. So they went in, they started to find a few of his, issues with them, started to realize, they're all with Toronto Police. They're all with the same accountant. They went in, audited all of his clients. I got all of them back, plus some, and trying to help them out of it. But they had to pay tens of thousands of dollars to CRA back, plus penalties, plus interest, couldn't get it back off the accountant. And they actually found the accountant guilty of some type of fraud with that too, because he willfully, knowingly did that and submitted that wrong, so that CRA was able to find the accountant liable as well, which I think is great that they did it. But I use him a lot when people call, and I say, just because somebody has an accountant degree and has the schooling and has that title does not mean that they are ethical.
It's true, except for they do have, if he reports that person, they can lose their CPA.
Right. And this guy,
it is regulated. It's like a lawyer being disbarred or something, right?
Right. But I know a lot of accountants that should be reported that aren't.
Exactly.
I've got one accountant and I love the client. I will not take on anybody new if they have him as accountant, flat out. I only keep this other client because she's been with me almost 10 years and I like her, but she knows I won't deal with her accountants. I deal with his assistant by email only, and that's it, because he's an arrogant SOB. But he, every single year, so she does a lot of the mixing, with her personal to business. So she puts through, she's got like 14 dogs. They're all little dogs, mostly. They are not for guard dogs for anything. She's got a business out of the home, but they're property management. So they drive trucks around and do that stuff. So, but every single year they take everything, all the dog food, they go through, they pull it all out, and they reclassify that to alarm and security. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like,
what?
Yes, I know. Alarm and security. I'm sorry. Most of these are small lap dogs. They are not alarm and security.
My dog's a security. I would love to write her off, but
yeah.
Exactly. Hey, Rosie, my dog's the office manager. Okay, write off her food for meals and entertainment like I do for the office. But so again, just because you're an accountant does not mean that you're ethical. And I should report him. But I figure, you know what? Karma's a bitch. Ooh, did I say that? Am I allowed to say that on Facebook?
I think so.
Yeah. Yep. So
I don't even allow anybody in my front yard, so they'll get eaten.
no. But no, I'm really glad that worked out and that's over, and that that's a big relief off you, because like I said, I know you were stressing over the conversations, over everything, over how you were going to take
me up at night.
Well, and I'm glad you really didn't give that much on the price. I mean,
Yeah, well, he hasn't written me a check yet, so, or sent me. I don't know.
Well, you're not doing any more work till he does, right?
Well, I will, but I know he's good for it. This house is it's sold, so
okay.
Yeah.
Did he sign a contract yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If he signs a contract, yeah, you could have him liable anyway, and it's a little different than them just giving you verbal and walking away going, oh my God, I'm not paying that, right? So.
No, he also talked about we have a good relationship, so it's not about that. I know it's good.
Good. I'm glad.
The house sold for 5.6 million. So I know
it has elevators in it, people. There's elevators in this house.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Crazy. I mean, my elevators I just have to move really fast up the stairs, right? if I stand there, I'm not going anywhere because the elevator's out of order. Hit the button. Why am I not going anywhere? Because that's the light button. Oh. So what else does anybody do then to, I guess, re-onboard clients or?
So you guys were talking about auto entry when I came in.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I missed it a little bit, but I was using auto entry to download all of the FreshBooks to QuickBooks Online. So I don't know if you guys knew about that, but that was a couple of years ago. And just so you know that I loved it, and I brought in over 600 invoices, the multiple line, and it was like, I think it was 2 hours to get all of the multi-line, of course, the GST. It was for a plumber, and it was, and everything just took off really well. And the only problem I had was that FreshBooks had picked up some PST that he charged, which was inaccurate, of course. But so I had to fix a couple of those invoices. But,
yeah. Oh, wow, that hurt. Did you hear that?
I did. I heard it too.
Ooh.
What?
Oh, there was a huge spike in.
Yeah, it was a really big spike and almost
feedback.
like a feedback just for like 2 words, and then it went away.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Well, I didn't hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Might have been a semi drive-by, I don't know. So anyway, it was.
No, I don't think it's anything to do with you, Leanne. No.
Okay.
Her computer does strange things though. When we talk, once we hit about 40, 45 minutes, it just tends to it just shuts right off on us. It's like, that's it. You guys are done.
I'm on a different computer today.
End of
Oh,
discussion.
different computer. Okay, good. Good.
So it was about a couple hours, and it only took me to get 600 invoices, PDF, onto auto entry, and it worked perfectly.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Yeah, and the multi-line, that's what Sherry Lee was saying that she really loved about it, the multi-line and the multi-currency.
I showed her how to do it. So
Oh, you showed her how to do that. Well, nice. She showed me.
that,
And we're telling other people, we're paying it forward.
That's
And I
right.
think it was Lisa as well. I had put it out onto Facebook a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, just to jump over here quickly because we got people putting comments on Facebook. So Jennifer says she oh really? She lost a client because she wouldn't write his dog off, and he was a landscaper. And I told him unless the dog was digging in the yard and planting bushes, he couldn't write off for grooming. Oh my God, good for you, Jennifer. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, I guess I could kind of see, like, well, hey, the dog does the digging. That's funny to imagine that. But yeah, it's, oh my gosh,
A
people.
client's been putting in cat food for one of my clients, and I keep on putting it to shareholder. So
Yeah. Well, you're doing your job. You're doing your job. No, I have, yeah. I've got one client, well, an ex-client, who I would love to report him to the CRA because he's just pissed me off. But you know what? Karma's going to come around. I'd love to report him to the CRA, but his books, they're not going to find a damn thing with his books because I wouldn't let him get away with everything, with anything. He had a lot in shareholders, a lot, $40,000 renovations that I know were for his personal home. He used to come in, he used to buy, he bought a personal hair removal kit, which was apparently a birthday present for the his office manager. So I called him out on it, and I said, according to CRA, we either have to make this because it was a $300 item. I said, this should be a taxable benefit. I said, or did you give one to all of your employees? Nope. I said, I know it's for his girlfriend, but I'm kind of like, that could actually almost be sexual harassment, But no, he actually just recently went on our Facebook page and wrote a very nasty review. So we turned off reviews. Oh, it was he outright lied. We've now hired somebody who used to work for him. And he doesn't like that. And I referred him on to a friend, and he put in there that, yeah, we did so many things wrong and we nickel and dime. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We did not send him one extra bill. We never once said we don't do that, not until it came time to renegotiate his price, in which case we doubled and he accepted. But otherwise, I'm like, no. So, and it wasn't until he had finally was out of our engagement that I said, sorry, you're not ours anymore. I'm not doing it without being paid, basically. But so he wrote this really long thing. And so I called the accountant. I'm like, I said, I don't want you to say anything that's uncomfortable. I said, I just want to know, was there anything that we did wrong in the file? Because the team is working on it. Maybe there was something that I missed, training opportunity. And he says, no. He says, I just referred you on to this and this. Like, they send people to us all the time. He says, there's nothing wrong with your work. It was the old accountant that there were issues with, but this guy knows that we're not the accountant because the accountant's his friend. The old accountant is his friend. And I'm like, okay. I said, great, enough said. He's like, you should report him. You should take him, to court for libel or slander. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a bigger person than that. We've got an amazing reputation in town. We've got the town cornered when it comes to, we're in all of the groups, the Chamber of Commerce, all of the, the associations. We're right in there. We work very closely with all of them. So I said, we don't need Facebook reviews. I'm fine turning it off, because if I just get into it, this guy's like a dog with a bone, and that's why we got rid of him. Even though I've got proof he's wrong, I'm like, you know what? Take the high road. If I still smoked, I would have gone out for a few cigarettes, but
well, some people you just can't please them, no matter what you do.
You can't. And yeah, so many issues with that, but I'm like, fine, I'll just turn the review off.
Yeah.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need Facebook reviews. We've got a good reputation. People know that we do a good job.
Yeah.
I validated that there was nothing wrong in the files, and I know he would have told me, because I know everything that still goes on with that file, and they actually still do everything set up the way that we do it, and they charge them $300 a month more.
Oh.
And every time, because I told them, I said, you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. So every single time they call, we'd like you to do this. That's not in your agreement.
Yeah.
Would you like to pay more? No. So they make him stick to it, whereas I didn't. And that's, I'm looking at this going, this is so wrong, and I can prove it's wrong. But he was the type trying to put all the stuff during his shareholders loan. At the end of the year was like $100,000.
Mm.
I wouldn't let him get away with anything. He apparently took, his other office, or his other store manager at another point, for dinner and a play for his birthday. Again, I'm sorry you didn't do that. So unless you're willing to do that for everybody, I'm going to throw it on his taxable benefits.
Mm.
And, and he's like, nope, I don't want that then. Well, no, because if it's taxable benefits, that means I'm reaching out to the employee and it wasn't them you took. So.
Yeah,
But
high maintenance clients like that are awful.
They are. Like I say, the most frustrating thing is I can't report them because I did everything proper, so they can't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so it is 4:30, and I have a client that's supposed to be coming in any minute. So we will have to cut it off. Jessica, sorry, she just popped in. She agrees. She also turned off Facebook reviews due to a client that disengaged for not cooking his books. Like, why do people do that? Seriously.
That's sad that you have to do that, but you do have to protect yourself in that sense, right? Mm-hmm. And I would hope that as bookkeepers we remember that, because I know when we take over somebody else's books that there's been another bookkeeper. Typically, there's a reason why that other bookkeeper isn't doing it anymore. Yeah. And oftentimes, the owner will try and throw them under the bus. And I hope we all kind of look at that and look into things before we actually realize who it is that was to blame. Because I really think 95% of the time, it is definitely the owner that's caused most of the problem.
Absolutely. Well, in my questionnaire, I asked them who's their previous bookkeeper and accountant. They're not required to answer those questions. Sometimes they tell me, sometimes they won't. But I'll say, why are you choosing to leave them? What did they do that you liked? What did they do that you didn't like?
Yeah.
Or something. And I look at how they respond to that.
Yeah.
If they respond in any type of vindictive way or starting to put them down, you know what? That's just like that secretary who had an affair with her boss. like
Yeah.
old school secretary, right? Had an affair with the boss, ended up the boss left the wife for her, and then she gets surprised when he cheated with his new younger
Yeah,
secretary.
that's right. That's a
You know,
really good
so-
analogy.
Toxic
Exactly.
clients.
Exactly.
You don't
So-
want 'em.
It will happen to you too at some point. So
Exactly. Well, and the funny thing is just because of my call now to my other accountant friend, because they're accountants and did the books, so they did kind of full cycle along with the accountancy. He's not going to hit his year, which is the end of February. They're actually going to cut him loose next month now because of this. Just
Yeah.
a minimum day's notice, because he was already kind of pushing. They've now brought on enough business that they don't need him. And as soon as they saw that, when I sent them, because we took a quick screenshot and shut the review off right away, sent it to them, they were like, oh my gosh, again, what's he now going to say about us?
Yeah.
So he's going to lose them. So now the next person they go to, oh, you were with one person for 2 years and you're not with them. One person for 1 year, you're not with them. Where's the common denominator?
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
And they completely forget about the audit log in QuickBooks, that you can track who's been doing what.
I love the audit log. It's beautiful.
Yes. When they come to you and say, oh, I've never had anybody work in my books but me. And then I get in there and it's like, well, who is this? And who is this? And who is this?
Yeah.
And then the truth comes out and it's like, no, I don't
Yeah.
need the game. Be truthful or this is not going to work.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Well, have a great weekend, everyone.
Yeah, you guys too. And Jessica, get better. You cannot be sick for the weekend.
Yes.
Yes. So hopefully she's getting her rest now, so that way exactly the weekend she can.
Yeah, I hope
Go in
that
with the kitty.
I hope that tree stays in the ground.
Yeah.
Yes. If you hear about any disasters on the Sunshine Coast,
Well, no.
Oh no, no.
Call Diane.
Hopefully
Okay,
not.
everybody take care.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.